these are the verses that I have found that give some kind of descriptive terminology, some kind of description about what does heaven look like, some sort of details about what to expect to see. And I don't know about you, but that made me pretty excited. Ever since I started this channel, I really wanted to do a video that was about what does the Bible say heaven looks like? And one of the reasons for this is every time I Google that topic, my search results are what does heaven feel like? So that whole there's no more tears, like all tears will be wiped away. And it's all those sort of descriptions. And I'm sitting there going, that's not what I Googled. My Google question is, what does the Bible say heaven looks like? And one of the main reasons why I want to study into that topic is if I'm listening to the different stories where people are telling me their near death experiences, I want to know what are the Bible's descriptions so that I can kind of go, okay, are they telling me the truth? Because we do know from history that some of the people that have had near death experience are just flat out lying. Some of them, maybe they have had visions of heaven. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they were in a coma. I really don't know. All I know is that this word, this Bible, this book gives me all the descriptions that God wants me to know. So over the Christmas break, I was thinking about it going, you know what? Instead of doing one video about what does the Bible say heaven looks like, let's do a whole series. And now also, because we're at the beginning of the year, I don't know, how many of you have decided to do the whole New Year's resolution of, I'm going to read this whole Bible in 1 year from cover to cover? And to do that, it's about approximately 4 chapters a day. So, as we're currently, mid June, you're probably working your way through Genesis and you're about to hit Exodus. Genesis, really easy to read through. Exodus, the first half, great. And then all of a sudden, we hit those, what feels like 20 something chapters, where God's just like, so this many rings for this side of the tabernacle, this material in this part, it's to be this length. And that's the first 10 chapters. And then the next chapters were, and they made it this many rings. And I don't know about you, but when it hits that point, I'm usually like, oh, this is a slog and a half. But I want to show you a verse that is over in Hebrews. This is found in Hebrews chapter 8, verse 5. And this verse shows us that those 20 chapters in Exodus, which at the moment feel like a slog to get through, are actually really rich chapters. When we ask the question of what does heaven look like, those chapters actually have a lot of the answers. So let's read Hebrews chapter 8, verse 5. Who serve the copy and shadow of heavenly things, as Moses was divinely instructed when he was about to make the tabernacle. For he said, see that you make all things according to the pattern shown you on the mountain. So in this passage, the context is talking about Jesus being our high priest and that the tabernacle was a shadow of the earthly things. But in here, it is telling us that Moses was told to make sure that he made every single thing of the tabernacle according to the pattern that he was shown on the mountain, because the whole tabernacle was a shadow of the heavenly tabernacle. So if we want to know more about what the throne room of God looks like, what we need to do is have a look at the earthly tabernacle, have a look at those descriptive terms. And as we start to tease it out, we are going to see some really amazing, amazing things. One of the first things that I've been looking at that I'm like, wow, this is just amazing. So from Exodus chapter 25, verses 17 to 22, we can see that the word cherub means one angel. Cherubim is a multiple of that type of an angel. So from other passages in the Bible, we can see that there are different types of angels. We've got cherubim, we've got seraphim, and I believe there's other ones, but they're the two names I know of. So from that passage in Exodus, we're seeing that a singular is a cherub and a multiple is cherubim. Where this then starts to get interesting is that with the mercy seat, we see on the sides of the mercy seat, we've got two cherubim. Their wingspans go apart and they touch each other. Their wings touch each other. Now, when we are over in Psalms 18, verse 10, it turns around and tells us that God rode upon the cherub. Ezekiel 9, verse 3, the glory of God goes up from the cherub. So here we've got that whole picture of the glory of God riding on the wings of the cherubim in the earthly tabernacle, that descriptive terms of what was given to Moses. We turn around and we can see that these cherubs are sitting on either side of the mercy seat. Now, when you turn back over to Genesis chapter 3, verse 43, and we see that descriptive term of what has happened after Adam and Eve has sinned. And God is now in his mercy, he sends them out of the Garden of Eden, this protective place, because they are no longer allowed to have access to the tree of life. Do you now notice what type of angel it is that is guarding the tree of life? It's cherubim. So that is multiple, minimum 2, but it could be more angels that God placed in the Garden of Eden to guard the tree of life, as well as a flaming sword that is spinning in all different directions. I think that is pretty amazing that God chooses to use the same angel to guard the tree of life, as these are the same angels that he has on either side of the mercy seat. So either side of him in the throne room of heaven. And these are the same angels that he has his glory ride upon their wings. Doesn't that show you this just beautiful, beautiful picture of God, that even though he put those angels there to stop us from having access to the tree of life, it was about that whole temporary picture, because he always had the plan of Jesus coming. And in this passage in Hebrews chapter 8, it turns around and shows us that Jesus was the one that he's our high priest. He went into the throne room of heaven and he sacrificed himself. That was a whole symbolism of what happened when he died on the cross. And it is just this absolutely beautiful picture that these same angels that are there that were guarding and stopping us from having access to the tree of life, still there on either side of the mercy seat, still there witnessing the whole resurrection, that whole mercy being poured out. And that whole thing of going, God is there doing all this stuff, knowing what he needs to do to redeem us. So as we look through all these different passages of the descriptive terms of what heaven looks like, we're going to be able to dive into just these different little gems that God has placed there in the Bible, because we know God doesn't always tell us the name of the type of angels. So when he does tell us, there's a reason.